The Insta360 cameras are great for a new angle that you probably didn't think was possible. The thing is it just hype or does it have a real application? Depending on who you are, it may be more than hype. Let's talk about it. Hey fam, mga kapatid, welcome back. Let's talk about some 360 footage. I've been using the Insta360 for the past few months. I bought it for the intention to shoot more content for horizontal and vertical behind the scenes videos. Because of the 7.2mm focal length per lens on each side, I've also had the benefit of not only having 360 degrees field of view, but also the ability to crop my horizontal shots later into vertical ones. I mean, unless your camera falls face down to the ground, it's hard to miss the shot when you've got 360 degrees of coverage. This is a great little camera for BTS if you want to set it and forget it, whether you leave it on a tripod, a chest mount, or even onto your camera like me. This is an older camera since its release in January 2020, but it still shoots well in the sense that it has a horizon lock-off. That means although the camera orientation wasn't originally straight, the camera will straighten it out for you, automatically. It shoots up to 5.7K at 30 frames per second to be able to get 1080p footage when you at least set your framing. In addition, it's 4K 60 if you want that 4K wide angle mod, which is still about 16mm for an ultra wide field of view. This is ideal for POV shots. More often than not, I leave the 360 mod on the camera and still mount it to my chest as it has a much wider field of view than the 4K mode. In addition to that, whether you're standing, running, or even crouching, you can expect the footage to be stable when you use the built-in stabilization modes. Ooh, so good. Plus, whether or not you edit on your computer or like to edit on your phone, this is also ideal when it comes to repurposing content, or even just shooting most of all your content for shorts or something on this device. You can access the 360 video files from your camera via your phone or tablet to edit and export onto your device, and just upload straight to social media. Although this is mostly for 360 videos, it also shoots photos, RAW and JPEG, so you can edit further if you like to, or leave it as it is. Some of the other features that you could use it for is HDR photos, burst photos, and time lapses. The Insta360 camera that I have here is the 1R with its modular design. I was worried for my clumsiness and decided to get this one just in case I crack or mess up my 360 mod. I hoped I could replace it with the lens only if need be, rather than buying a whole new camera setup. I've got an extra battery and one boosted battery. The regular battery is rated for roughly an hour at 5.7K 30 frames per second or 4K 50 frames per second, and the booster battery lasts for 2 hours, but you lose water resistance. That's fine for me. When shooting BTS to show my creative process, I enjoy having the reassurance that even if this thing was mounted weird for some reason, I still didn't miss the shot because of its 360 degrees of view. I've edited the 360 footage on my iPad and through the Insta360 Studio app that is provided. Since I don't incorporate these shots into my cinematic vlogs or even regular vlogs, I just edit these clips one by one and batch export to share later for the internet, whether as B-roll for these kinds of videos or for vertical videos. But if you want, you could export the 360 video to use for Final Cut Pro or for Adobe Premiere for single projects. For my workflow, I hardly ever use the 4K mod because it's just not wide enough for me to get the frame I've wanted for cropping for vertical videos. It's still wide, but not enough for me. Don't get me wrong, you can still get a decent frame cropping a 16mm shot with the 4K mod, but you have to have framed it well to begin with. Remember, you don't got that 360 degree vision. I usually mount the Insta360 camera right on top of my mirrorless camera rather than wear a body harness, as I move a lot and I spend a decent amount of time reframing my 360 videos later. Although I did say this is a camera that you could set and forget, I advise you to shoot in bursts of a few seconds if you know that you're going to ultimately export short clips of 360 video. It's a hassle to try to cut and export different individual clips of, let's say, a 45-minute recording. I could probably use 10 small clips out of something like that, but it's not all used for the same project. So individual clip exports are important to me. If you're going to leave your Insta360 camera shooting for 30 to 45 minutes, and that in itself is a video, then it's fine to export the video to Final Cut Pro or Adobe Premiere and cut it up, finesse more editing in there, and export to YouTube or wherever. This is one of my cons about this camera though. The workflow, it slows me down. It's one more step to import footage, reframe, and wait for the footage to export, especially if your footage is lengthy. So anticipate multitasking while waiting. It's, as the saying goes, don't fix it in post. But as someone who's shooting their own BTS, I put up with the time to shoot this BTS on this camera, reframe the shots later, as I myself appreciate seeing BTS of other people's creative workflow. Let me know down below if you like seeing behind the scenes footage. Another con for me is the exposed lens. The 360 mod is an advantage that can easily be a disadvantage. Yes, you got that 360 field of view, but you're also more susceptible for cracking a lens. One, the other, or both. The camera does come with a rubber cover for storage, but once you take that off, it's fair game, especially if you're playing around cement. You can get a lens cover for this, but you get that thing wet or smudge it, then it almost defeats the purpose of having a 5K camera when the optical quality is smudged or distorted with artifacts. It'll just look like a potato instead of being crisp like a french fry. Other than that, I find the image quality great. By the way, do you use an action camera often? Although this is an older Insta360 camera, it's still not outdated at all after 3 years since its release. Yeah, the new ones have a couple more new features and specs, but if you're looking to get into 360 video, it's still worth taking a look at some of these first generation ones to save some money. In the future, I would love for Insta360 to make some kind of setting where you could just utilize just one of the lenses in the 360 mod, if that's even possible. I would love to just bypass the reframing and cropping for someone who just likes to shoot BTS for these YouTube videos or vertical videos. The 4K mod isn't wide enough for me, but this thing is, even if it's just one side and I mount it to my chest. If you've owned GoPros for a while or even GoPro knockoffs and you're interested in shooting BTS while shooting solo, the Insta360 cameras are worth a look. Click over here to see sample clips with the Insta360, and thanks again for watching. Now go out there and shoot for the life that matters. See ya!